Let's take this other question. Using any three prescribed texts show how conflict is abundant in society. The question is on conflict, and I want us to understand that conflicts can be found at the intrapersonal level, the communal level, the matrimonial level, and the institutional levels. It depends on whatever level. Sometimes they may simply ask intrapersonal. Sometimes they may also just ask communal. So we are taking it generally. In twilight of misty foliage, there is conflict at the community level between Sajem and Sambis. The elites of Sajem, in complicity with the administration, have taken away the administrative seat from Sambis to Sajem, thereby leaving Sambis impoverished. There is also a lot of marginalization and discrimination of children from Sambis in positions within the church and in all spheres of life, thereby pushing the people of Sambis to become rebellious. They boycott doctrinal classes and examinations. They refuse to go to church. They refuse to listen to the sermons of Reverend Rotberger, etc., etc. At the personal level, there is conflict between Pa Mpochweng and Reverend Mbante when he informs the former that his son, young Mpochweng, has been chosen for priesthood. He faints because he had placed high hopes in his son and had wanted him to become an influential member of his community. There is conflict between Wumwa because he has an extramarital relationship with the wife of another man. And the man had wanted him to stay off his wife, and he had not heeded to the advice. He had even gone as far as following the woman in the farm and had wanted to have sex with her there. And at the moment when he's about to get into action, the man had sent bees that had stung him all over, leaving him in a pitiful state, highlighting moral indecency. There is conflict between Kunam and his wife because of his infidelity. Kunam has a lot of mistresses all over the village and does not even provide money for food. His wife and his other concubines in the village refuse to give him food almost at the same time. And when the family is at dinner, they refuse to invite him to join them to eat. And he cannot endure the hunger anymore. At night, he goes to steal food from his wife's kitchen, and the food smears on him, leaving him in shame. He later on becomes known as Professor Okra. There is conflict between Mfinyi and the villagers of Fable, who are bent to defend the Gangbo family that had killed some white soldiers, and the government is seeking their head. The government had contracted Mfinyi to do the job for them, but the Fawn of Fable had hidden them in the cave. And the villagers had transformed themselves as bees to guard the entrance of the cave. When they sense the intention of Mfinyi, they chase him away, and the bees fly over to his compound and attack everybody there, They sting the animals to death. They sting his wife and children, and focus especially on the young road beggar who had impregnated a young lady in the village and is not willing, is proud that he may not take care of the pregnancy and nothing will happen to him until he faints, and they carry his family members to the hospital. He loses all his animals, he packs his things and leaves the village, losing everything that he had worked for, highlighting ingratitude and revenge. At the institutional level, there's conflict between Cardinal Mpochweng and Reverend Rod Beggar. The young cardinal has been just appointed, despite Reverend Rod Beggar being old in the profession. He becomes jealous of his eminence because of his popularity. He refuses his influence in the parish and blames him for the fact that people have started boycotting his services and refusing to listen to his sermons. Through the spiritual life of the cardinal, the parishioners can easily see the shallowness and the hypocrisy of Reverend Rod Beggar. Out of jealousy, he engages some murderers to kill the cardinal, and he consults Dracula and his gang, who spend the night in the bishop's house. They are well received. They are given a place to sleep, despite the flimsy excuse that they had given. But late at night, they abduct the cardinal, subject him to torture, and leave him thinking that he is dead. Nevertheless, they point to the fact that they had been sent by Reverend Rod Beggar. Miraculously, he survives, highlighting hypocrisy and evil in the society. There is conflict between the state council and the DO over the collection and sharing of money from the traffic control. The former does not want to share with him because he has land commissions to feed on, highlighting institutionalized corruption. In the swamp dwellers, there is individual conflict, like the meeting of Igwezu of his brother in the city. Igwezu decides to leave the city like many young boys do because of poverty. While in the village, he meets his brother who robs him of his dignity, uses his money to seduce his wife, and he mortgages his farm produce, but loses everything, returning back to the village in frustration, highlighting hypocrisy, ingratitude, materialism, and infidelity. There is conflict between Alu and Makuri concerning the death of Awuchike. Alu believes that her son is dead because she has not heard a word from Awuchike since he had left the village, and therefore does not also want to lose Igwezu, who has gone to visit his destroyed farm, and it is already getting dark. She wants to go out to look for her son, but Makuri restrains her, telling her not to bring death upon her children, highlighting love. There is conflict in culture as the blind beggar from the north wants to reclaim the land from the serpent and make it land that can be cultivated. This is an abomination, and Makuri believes that this is a sacrilege, highlighting superstition. There is conflict between the Kadiye and Igwezu over his disappointment, given the fact that he had given the necessary requirements and the sacrifice. He had given the necessary sacrifice to protect his marriage and to protect his crops and to wish him a good luck in the city. But he had come back losing everything. He questions the Kadiye why he should be so fat when the land is suffering from scarcity. He asked him if he had not given all the necessary sacrifices demanded, to highlight to the point that the Kadie is dishonest, dubious, and a fraudster. The Kadie, of course, uses the sacrifices to feed fat on while the people are suffering from hunger, highlighting hypocrisy and exploitation. In unanswered cries, there is conflict between Makalai and Olabisi over the circumcision leading to her escape to Freetown. Makalai realizes after the fight between Olabisi and the Digba Sowe's daughter that she is no longer a virgin. Consequently, she thinks that she cannot control her sexual urges and therefore wants her to be circumcised. But Olabisi is not in favor. She runs into the forest and is later helped by Pa Amadu to escape to Freetown, highlighting superstition. There is conflict between Olabisi and the Digba Sowe's daughter because she asks them a seemingly innocent question whether they are Gbokas. Secondly, she uncovers the Bondo's secrets by snatching off their underwears, which leads to Yaposi's anger. She tells Makalai that she must bring Olabisi to the Bondo camp to be circumcised, else she will have a difficult delivery, highlighting superstition. Even while at the Bondo camp, the Digba Sowe and her daughters capture Olabisi, take her into the hut, but out of some luck and sheer determination, she fights them off and bolts her way out of the hut and runs downhill to safety. There is conflict between Ade Jones, and Oya because of his lack of commitment in their relationship, with the excuse that he does not have a permanent job. She also accuses him of sleeping with so many women, infidelity with Yamide, which he claims that she is just a friend. Oya decides to leave him for good. Ade proposes marriage, and they get married later on at the end of the novel, highlighting love. There is conflict between Ade Jones and Makalai over Olabisi's circumcision. When Olabisi flees back to Freetown, Makalai chases her there and wants to take her back, but her father refuses that his daughter will not be subjected to such ridiculous practice. And the case ends up in court, which is settled in favor of Olabisi and Ade Jones. The court is tense because of the presence of the Bondo woman on the streets of Freetown and in court. Lastly, there is conflict. Between Olabisi and Eddie Cole because he exposes their relationship to lawyer Sise, which he uses to expose her promiscuity in court. He uses this information to show the reason why Olabisi should be circumcised, because according to him, she has started having sex at the age of 14 and she cannot control her sexual desires, leaving her disgraced. She is full of shame and she starts thinking about committing suicide and asks for forgiveness from her father, who takes the responsibility of her shortcomings, highlighting love. Thank you for watching.